We're going to rank them according to the use case. And then last but not least, and you want to stay to the very end for this one because we are going to review the player that I can only describe as Lisan al-Gaib. What is up, everybody? It is Jake back with the MF Film Room. Thank you so much for being here. If you guys want to be updated on all things EA college football, hit that red subscribe button, hit the like button, and follow me on Twitter and Instagram. If you like college football content, go subscribe to my other channel, Master Football with Jake Posey. Link is in the description. But enough about all that EA college football content. Let's go. All right, guys, here we are. And I was having a conversation with my friend the other day, and we were talking about this game. We were online. We were hanging out. And he was like, yo, dude, I think I've been recruiting the wrong quarterbacks the whole time. I need to recruit this guy versus that guy, or this type versus that type. And I'm over here thinking like, well, it's interesting that you talk about that because I've had some sneaking suspicions about quarterbacks going through, playing this game a couple, seasons here, but I haven't really sat down to decide, which archetype of quarterback, which style of quarterback is the best one out there. And I think what I'm going to be doing here is this is going to be part of a larger series here where I go through each and every position here because I think that, thinking about this game, it just kind of throws you in there. It doesn't really give you a lot of a breakdown of what they are, what they're strong at, what they're weak at. It kind of gives you an insight with their name, which, by the way, we'll get into that, why some of the names can be moderately deceptive here. But I wanted to do this is I'm going to go through the different archetypes here. I'm going to go kind of through, different ways that I'm going to do this and what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, how they develop and everything like that. I'm going to first go over the chapters, which is going to break down all the different things we're going to be talking about. And then we'll get into chapters each one by one and go from there. So let's start right now. So in the chapters here, we've got a couple here. We've got our method here. We're going to go through how we specifically organize this data. Some of the data, there's going to be some asterisks around some of the data. I'll get into that in a second here. We're also going to review each archetype's initial ratings and abilities and the positives and negatives from each of those different types of players, that being the pocket passer, backfield creator, dual threat, and pure runner. We're going to rank them according to the use case. And then last but not least, and you want to stay to the very end for this one because we are going to review the player that I can only describe as Lisan al-Gaib. All right, for method here, so we're going to use Alabama for recruiting purposes. Again, if you're recruiting offensive players in your Alabama, if you have any difficulty recruiting players as Alabama on offense, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I'm going to be disrespectful. You need to be slapped in the face because it is so easy to recruit players at Alabama. Yeah, I'm going to recruit around 3 players from each of the following star levels, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now, some of the issues there with that, though, is that they may only have a few 5 stars due to their numbers being so low. And again, the issues with that, too, is that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be interested in you. I'm at Alabama. Most players will be, but that doesn't mean all of them will be. So that will be a limiting factor there. Also, dual threat QBs have QBs and athletes. So I'm going to attempt to find both of those just to see if there's any differences between both of those players. Also, another one thing here is pure runners are rare. So the same thing I said about for 5 stars being short in numbers, I have noticed that pure runners, 5 and 4 stars, are rare to find on this game. So that's going to be something that's going to kind of hinder our ability to find some players out there. And then last but not least, I will go ahead and attempt to sign all of them and review how they turn out just to see another thing like how close are they to their abilities, how far are they away, what are those abilities expensive, are their initial ratings good, are they just all those things, within here. And I assure you, you can see there, we've got 4 of those dynasties there. We've got our pure runners, our dual threats, our backfield creators, and our pocket passers. So we're going to do first and foremost, we're going to start ourselves with the pocket passers. So looking at the pocket passes here, I mean, first of all, a couple of these guys are absolutely amazing here. We've got, this guy here, this guy's a 5-star at the very top there. He already has step up and on time. And you can see as going through here, you see on the bottom left of those, what are those? That would be those 10 ratings right there. The bottom left are short accuracy, medium accuracy, and deep accuracy. For the most part, they're pretty high. These are the 5s right here. This is a 4, this is a 4, and this is a 4. You get down into 3s and it goes down, but they're still pretty accurate. The short accuracy, 76. Deep accuracy, 73. Kind of falls off there. This guy is more accurate for the short, but not as much on the deep. This guy is a little more balanced across the board. You're able to see that across the way with all of these players here. The fact that I mean, this guy right here is a 1-star, 70 accuracy. It's not good, but it's a lot better than some of the other players when it comes to accuracy. You can see, though, a couple things here that you'll see with like the speeds. These guys are all, all super slow. They can't break sacks. Some of them can throw on their own, but for the most part, they can't. This guy right here is actually pretty surprising. 72 speed, 76 acceleration. I mean, keeping on going here, you're able to see here towards the top, this guy's got 84 acceleration. This guy's got 76, 78. Still decently slow, but faster than you would think. And then when you get up here to the top of these guys, 76, 83, but with having those awesome throwing abilities. So for pocket passers, and again, with their initial ratings, like I said, all of their accuracy ratings are relatively even. Their elusiveness ratings are all pretty low. I mean, obviously it makes sense. Pocket passer, pretty much, you think about the pocket passer and the pure runner, they're kind of polar opposites of each other, and you can kind of see that. Throw under pressure for them is high, even amongst the lower tiered players. I have seen that as well. And for their abilities, I mean, obviously their abilities are resistance, resist pressure from the pocket, step up, accuracy boost, climbing a clean pocket, sleight of hand, boost for play action and trick plays, dot, which is increased accuracy in pocket for open receivers, and on time, improve accuracy when throwing in anticipation. So as you can see, pretty self-explanatory. The pocket passers are designed to throw from the pocket. Now, when we talk about the positives and negatives for the pocket passer, it's pretty self-explanatory here. They're the most accurate quarterbacks. They're the best throwers from the pocket. I'm going to get into that later on in this video. The best thrower from the pocket. Higher levels, 4-star and above, have surprising speed and acceleration abilities. Like I said, 76 speed and 83 acceleration is not fast, but you'd be surprised that you can actually if you can scramble enough with those guys, those 4 and those 5s, maybe even some 3s have some ability to run. Only got to invest a couple points in that to get them up to the 80s. The 80 for me is kind of the cutoff. You got to have at least 80 speed as a quarterback. And as you see now with most quarterbacks in college football and even pro football, that pocket passer that doesn't move ever, or cannot run at all is slowly kind of being worked out of the game. You can see that with some of the higher level pocket passers in this game. Also with this one, 4 abilities only need 1 rating tree, notably accuracy. So for these guys, to get the most of those abilities, even a normal dev trait guy should have the ability to do that. So this is a random recruit here. He's a pocket passer, but you can see the fact, throw under pressure, medium accuracy, deep accuracy, and short accuracy. All of those come in the accuracy rating. So think about it. For this guy right here, he only has to put 4 points into this. I mean, right now he's got higher levels to go. The power ability, if it costs 14, which is really expensive. Now, I know this guy's got a stronger arm than normal, but he can get 4 abilities by just putting points into this. That is a really cool thing you can do with pocket passers that you can't do with other players. And for the negatives here, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory for the negatives. He's just the slowest archetype. He's just slow. So this guy right here, he is what he is. He stands in the pocket. He throws the ball, and that's it. He doesn't throw on the run. They have actually decent throw on the run abilities, but he's not going to break any tackles out on the edge. He could break sacks maybe, but that's about it. And also, he can't train any elusiveness abilities besides break sacks. So if you think about that, we talk about, their elusiveness, their ability to break tackles, the juke, their spin, their trucking, anything. All of those abilities, not one of them can he train. It is what it is. You're a pocket passer. You know what you're getting into when you get into these players. All right, up next is the Backfield Creators, and I have noticed this here. So the hardest position to recruit, I felt it was Backfield Creator. It was just so hard to get a really, really good player out there, but because you can see I lost this 5-star to Ohio State, I was able to get these 4 stars over here. I also saw the fact that this guy was normal dev trait, so it sucks for you guys. This guy was normal dev trait too. Now, I've got a fair amount of players here. As you can see, I've got a 5, a 4, a 4, a 4, and down into the 3s here. From what I've noticed, these guys have some of the weaker arms I've seen out there. They're decently fast. Obviously, these guys are the 5s and the 4s, so they're going to be good at mostly anything. You get down here to the 3. This guys can run, can't really throw. It's tough to find higher throw powers amongst these players here. Some of these guys these guys are 2s and 1s. These guys are terrible. This guy was an exception. This guy's got 83 throw power, but you can see the fact that, he's only 2-star. He's normal dev trait. He's going to have kind of issues there. These guys were one of the more frustrating ones to find just because of some of their limitations. Now, if you're able to get a really, really good one there, I think that they could be an awesome, awesome player. We get into those breakdowns right now. So for the Backfield Creator, their initial ratings, again, they're faster than the pocket passer, but they're slower than dual threat players, and they're slower than pure runners, even across archetypes, star levels, like a 4 versus a 4, a 3 versus a 3, 2 for 2, 1 versus 1. They are faster than pocket passers, but they're not super fast. Their throw power is less than you would think for a backfield creator. I'm going to get into, why that can be an issue, but where you can actually have a successful, recruit beyond that. Talking about their abilities here. So their abilities are off-platform accuracy, improved accuracy for crossbody or off-platform throws, pull down, increased ball security for standing in the pocket on time, increased accuracy for throwing with anticipation, sleight of hand, boost for play action and trick plays, and mobile at deadeye, improve accuracy on the run. They're the only player with mobile deadeye in the game. And we get into kind of the strengths and weaknesses, and it gets a little bit more nuanced than the pocket passer. Pocket passer was pretty straightforward, whereas backfield creator, it gets a little bit more nuanced. So for the backfield creator, the positives are pretty simple. It's the ultimate thrower of the ball due to their abilities. So think about their abilities here. So if you throw on time, the ball's they're gonna have a boost to that. If you're in the pocket, you get hit, you're gonna have increased ball security. If you got to throw on the run, you're increased accuracy on the run, and you're able to run play action. So if you run play action, get on the run, you got a boost to the play action, a boost to your ability to throw on the run, and if you throw off platform when you're throwing on the run, you're gonna have an increase to that. So basically, all throwing abilities: throwing in the pocket, throwing with anticipation, running play action, getting hit in the pocket. Throwing on the run, throwing off platform, you've got improvements to all of those. You really designed, like I said, the backfield creator is trying to create down the field. That's what this guy can do. And then you actually can train the ability to break and miss tackles, unlike the pocket passer, which can't. So this is a pocket passer. He only has the ability to increase his break sack, change of direction, and agility. And this backfield creator has the ability to do juke move and spin move, and not just agility, change of direction, break sack. Now, some of the negatives with this guy, obviously the big one here is that it's kind of twofold. It's kind of together. Where off-platform requires investment in two trees, accuracy and power is an expensive tree, and their arms are kind of weak. So one of the coolest abilities they have requires investment in something that they're the lowest at, which kind of sucks. So as you can see here, this is an issue here because he's got to invest in throw power and accuracy just to get off-platform, and that kind of sucks. I mean, it's one of the bigger abilities that he has. Now, you can still get pull down on time, sleight of hand, and mobile deadeye for just investing into the one tree, but you got to invest into this one for off-platform. This quarterback is a recruit. He's not a recruit. He's been on the team for a couple of years. He already has a good amount of throw power, but even if you're not doing that, still investing in it costs 13. The one right above it costs 4. So it kind of sucks that ability requires 2, but it also is one of the more expensive ones, and it's one that this archetype is the lowest at usually. All right, up next is the dual threats. And I have noticed this, that I mentioned before about the backfield creators. They were kind of hard to recruit. Same thing with dual threats. Now, one of the issues with dual threats is that they are, very, very good overall, but a lot of people go after these guys. I mean, I was able to sign a couple of these guys here. This guy, Antoine, first of all, is that's a rough last name, especially don't name your kid Hugh. That'd be a rough. I'm a child. I don't care. All right, so continuing on here. We can see the fact that, this guy's a star dev trait. This guy's going to be good. These guys right here, they've got a weird thing where the throw powers of these guys, I think even more so than the pocket passers, is higher than them. Coming down here, even some of these lower level guys have a good amount of throw power. I mean, obviously you saw a couple 80s in there. This guy's a 1-star. This guy's not very good, and this guy's got 82 throw power. Should you recruit him? Probably not. But the fact that it's higher than you would think, I mean, this guy right here has got 66 throw power. That's absolutely terrible. He actually can run a little bit there. But for the most part, these guys, I want to say height, weight, speed, maybe not height and weight, but certainly throw power, speed, and acceleration. These guys are the highest of all those players out there. I've also noticed a big difference between these guys too. There's a huge asterisk around this, is that some of these guys are dual threats. You see the position. Some of these guys are athletes. So these quarterbacks, some of these are athletes, quarterback and athlete. There is actually a difference between those two. I'm going to get into that in a second here because I thought I found Lisan al-Gaib in this position, or in this archetype. I actually found it in another one that we'll show in a second here. As an example, this guy right here, this guy was one of the few guys. For the most part, the deep accuracy for these guys is pretty bad. I mean, I'm even checking some of these guys out here in the higher levels. 69 accuracy, nice. 67, 67, 69, 69. This isn't very good. This guy, one of the athletes, oddly had good deep accuracy. He had normal dev trait, which kind of hurts it there. But for the most part, that's what you're going to see with these guys as we get into a breakdown of these guys and their initial ratings. So for their initial ratings here, and again, there's a huge variation in their abilities and their ratings for these. I should say for their ratings, not their abilities, because some are fast, some are strong arms, some are quick, some can break sacks, some are deep accurate. Very few are deep accurate. But again, it's huge variation for what these guys have. But for them, all, including the normal and the athlete versions, have higher acceleration, agility, and change of direction, even at the lower levels when compared to the other archetypes, when compared to the other archetypes for pocket passers, backfield creators, and pure runners. All of them have those ratings. We get into their abilities, again, downhill, which is breaking tackles at max speed, extender, improved break sack ability. For option king, it's accuracy boost to quick pitches, not accuracy post to quick pitches. For dot, increase accuracy in the pocket for open receivers. And then mobile resistance, improved pressure resist on the run. They're the only one that has that ability. I would rather have the accuracy boost, not the resistance boost, but that's just me here. All right, so for the positives and the negatives for these guys. So the positives, it's pretty straightforward. They're probably the best overall rating-wise QB archetype initially. And again, if you recruit a 3-star of all the archetypes, a 5-star of all the archetypes, a 4-star, a 2-star, a 1-star, for the most part, the dual threat's probably going to be the best because they have a little bit of everything. The arm strength is the highest. They might be weak on the deep accuracy, but for the rest of them will be pretty good. They're going to be usually pretty fast, usually pretty quick. They've got a lot of those abilities here. Again, they have the strongest arms from what I can see out there. Also here, one thing that's important, the athlete dual threat QBs have high break sack versus the normal ones. Check this out. So look up there at the top. You're going to see quarterback, and then I want you to see the break sack, which is on the right side. It's the third one down. It's in the middle there. So this guy's a QB. He's got a 68 break sack, 65, 66, 65. Get to an athlete, now it's 81. We get to an athlete, now it's 83. We get to an athlete, now it's 77. We do quarterback, it's 61, quarterback 51, quarterback 50, athlete 73, athlete 88. This guy right here is a 3-star with 88. This guy's pretty good. I mean, now he's got normal dev trait, but 90 throw power, 88 break sack, 79 speed, 86 acceleration. That's pretty good for a 3-star. So this guy right here is an athlete, 74 break sack, quarterback, 49 break sack. You're able to see that difference between those two types of players. You can even see it here among like the lower level ratings guys. So you see this 2-star right here. This guy's a 2-star quarterback, dual threat. He's got 49 break sack. This guy's an athlete, and he's got 77. So that's one difference between those two quarterbacks that you're able to see. The athletes versus the non-athletes is the athletes have break sack abilities. All right, getting to the negatives here. So they can't really throw deep, even at the higher levels. I said you saw my one exception there. But for the most part, even the higher level guys have like 68 deep accuracy. You're like, what the hell's going on there? Even the 4 and the 5-star guys. And also, only the athlete version has the high break sack. That's not a negative for the athlete version, but it is a negative for the regular version. And last but not least, we get over here to the pure runners. Now, I didn't get this guy right here, but pure runners are interesting because they're kind of in a weird spot. I mean, they don't have the strongest arms. They're decently fast. I think they're probably maybe a little bit faster, but I'm not even really sure about that. But it's not huge. I mean, you see these guys, these are 2-stars down here, and they're probably pretty quick. But for the most part, I mean, 73 speed is like, they might say that they're the quickest. So maybe their acceleration, you might be able to argue there. But for the most part, I mean, some of these guys are pretty slow. This guy's 74 speed. Things. These are 1-stars, though. Now, to be fair, one guy I wanted to talk about here is the guy that we're going to go over because his name is Darrell Welsh, a.k.a. Lisan al-Gaib. This guy, first of all, just finding a 4-star pure runner quarterback is rare. Finding a 4-star gym pure runner with gold magician and elite dev trait, we're going to check this guy out later on because you see his like accuracies there, short, medium, deep. They're not very good. 90 speed's pretty good. 88 acceleration's pretty good. Break sack's not great. Throwing under pressure's not great. Throwing the run is good. For the most part, though, this guy he's a pure projection. We're going to see what he can become later on in the video. But for right now, reviewing the pure runners, they're pretty self-explanatory as to what they are. So for pure runners here, so initial ratings, again, they're quick, but they're not the quickest of the quarterback archetypes. I think that, I shouldn't say the quickest. They're not the fastest. I actually felt like the dual threats might have been faster, even because of the athlete levels. They, across the board, I was able to see that. All recruits I signed could juke above 68. So even the 1-stars, even the bad ones there, they had above 68. And also here, within the initial ratings here, I found Lisan al-Gaib. So we'll talk about Lisan al-Gaib in a second here, but let's continue on here. So their abilities, Magician, which is improved pocket movement. They're the only one that has that. Also have option king. They also have shifty and sidestep, and then they have workhorse. So workhorse for a quarterback is actually kind of cool because it gives you protection from wear and tear impacts. I'm going to get into why I think that is really, really cool here in a second. So for positives, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory here. I think the pure runner, it might be speed, but I felt like I saw that the dual threats were faster. But the best tackle breaking abilities, for sure, tackle breaking and tackle evading abilities were the pure runners. It's not a question there. The only archetype here with magician, the best scrambling quarterback ability. So the best scrambling quarterback ability, the ability to move in and out of the pocket there. Nobody else has it. It gives you kind of last year, I want to say the scramblers kind of had it, but this year it's just the pure runners. It's a really cool ability, especially if you try to play like, if you ever watch a video, watch Allen Iverson play quarterback when he was in high school. He would basically just run around in the pocket and then huck it downfield. That's what these guys can do here. Also, the only quarterback with workhorse. Me personally, I don't need workhorse for getting hit. I need from like running or running option plays. I need it from just standing in the pocket because sometimes my offensive lines are really, really bad. So getting workhorse for them will keep them in the game longer. I really like that ability as well. Now, one of the things here is that the negatives are very few for them to pick from. It's just tough to find them. Also, you cannot train play action at all. It is what it is. You're stuck. So this guy is a pure runner quarterback over here, and we checking him out. So this right here is all the accuracies, throw on the run, throw under pressure. I don't see play action in there. I don't see play action in there under IQ. I don't see play action in there. I don't see play action in there, and I don't see play action in there. So whatever your play action is for a pure runner quarterback, it's non-existent. It is what it is, and it's usually pretty low. So here it is, Lisan al-Gaib, our boy, and we come over here to check him out, and for his play action, it is 54, and it will never be higher than 54. He's stuck. It will never get better than that, no matter what you do, no matter how long you play. It's done. I mean, unless you cheat and you go in there to edit him, he will never be able to train using your abilities or not using your abilities, using the ability to manual progression. It's just you're stuck. So you cannot train play action at all. They're also the least accurate, even at the higher levels. And for the thing, magician and shifty require points in an expensive tree and quickness. You can see the fact that it just requires a lot of points. If they're a lower level guy or they're a normal dev trait guy, it's going to be tough for these guys in any way, shape, or form because of how expensive it is to get magician and those other abilities. So shifty and magician. So magician down here requires speed and magician requires speed. So in order to get those, you have to have change of direction and speed. However, when you go over to the ratings, you're able to see that one of the more expensive trees they have is that quickness tree. So that speed right there. Now you can get it, but the problem is this guy might be normal dev trait. It's going to hurt a lot of points there unless you're at some of the higher level or the higher dev traits out there beyond just normal. So it's going to be expensive to get any of those abilities, those two, shifty and magician. All right, last but not least, we have my rankings. I'm actually going to give you guys two different rankings here because the rankings here are kind of interesting because there's the normal rankings and then I'm going to have my special rankings. We're going to go over here in a second. So the rankings I have. So number one for me, dual threat quarterback, especially the athlete version. I'm actually going to separate the athlete and the quarterback here. I feel like the dual threat, the fastest, the strongest arms, and they have that break sack ability versus the normal ones. Talking about the second best archetype, dude, I'm telling you, pick up a pocket passer who wants conference prestige or something like that. You can stash him on your bench. If your quarterback, your starter gets injured or something like that, you can put him in the game. Even at the lower levels, they're going to elevate fast due to investment in one skill tree. You can basically just pour things into their accuracy tree. You're able to get them most of their abilities pretty quick. And like I said, even if you like to use a scrambler first and he gets injured or this or that, always benefits. Have a guy who likes proximity to home and he's close to you. Have a guy who likes, conference prestige if you're in a tougher conference. Get something like that. Stick him on the bench if you don't play with him, or just put him in the game immediately. I'm telling you, they might have caps on how good they can be because of lack of their ability to break tackles and this and that. But for the most part, a pocket passer, even a normal dev trait, is going to be able to get most of their abilities just because of how cheap it is to do so. Continuing on, I like the Backfield Creator. Again, they're expensive abilities, talking about that off-platform throwing ability, but again, they're a fun non-option combo. I think that the dual threats and the pure runners are much better non-option or option combos, but the best non-option combo, I like the Backfield Creator. They're a little bit quicker. Their arms are a little bit weaker, but for the most part, I really like them. Then the dual threat quarterback. I think the problem with the dual threat is that you have to put a bunch of points into elusiveness that you don't have to if it's the athlete version. That's the reason why I put them fourth. And then last but not least is the pure runner. Like I said, they're very limited and surprisingly not fast for being a pure runner. So this is just the normal rankings. This is what I would put them just generally, all things considered. 5 stars, 4, 3, 2, 1, normal, impact, star, and elite dev trait. All of them together, divided by the numerator, divided by the denominator. I would put it like this. However, there's a different ranking here that we're going to get into here because I want to see, and talking about, of course, my boy Lisan al-Gaib. Now, for the gem rankings. So, at the bottom there, you see a little asterisk there. These would all be awesome, but this ranking would be the most awesome in my opinion. So, number 1, dude, if you get like a gem of a backfield creator, dude, especially like star or elite dev trait, you legitimately will have Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, just fast enough and just tackle breaking enough ability to make it hurt. But can you imagine like a 98 throw power backfield creator who's able to put the ball anywhere he wants to, play action, on the run, off platform, here and there? It would be absolutely incredible for them. Up next is the pure runner. Now, the problem with the pure runner, the reason why I have them just lower is because the pure runner, again, they can't train play action, so you can only really run an offense one way. Dude, if I was a pure runner quarterback and I was like I had a low amount of skill caps and I had a high dev trait, dude, I would basically just throw the ball every play with them and just run around, throw the ball every play, throw the ball over here, throw the ball over there. It would be cool. It'd be, like I said, Allen Iverson in high school would be the coolest way to play this game. After that, the dual threat athlete quarterback, again, nothing wrong with them. Same thing with the dual threat quarterback, the normal quarterback, and then the pocket passer. The reason why is because for the pocket passer, I mean, like, you're going to cap out pretty quick. And even if you get elite dev trait, granted, you're going to get your stuff immediately. The problem with that, though, is like the higher end, you're not going to be able to break tackles. You can break sacks. You'll still be fast. But I just feel like the other abilities, the other quarterback archetypes have better abilities at the higher levels of training development. So pocket passer, no shade to you, but you're just not as sexy as the other ones, man. And I wanted to make sure we gave an opportunity to see what Lisan al-Gaib, our boy Darrell Welsh, was able to be. And he's got elite dev trait. He's at Alabama. I'm going to try and see how good I can get this guy because I think he might be one of the best players to have ever played in this game ever. All right, so Lisan al-Gaib is definitely awesome. Now, the problem with this guy, first of all, I'm going to let everybody know this. This is Alabama with all of the boosts, elite dev trait, and I still can't quite get him that good at throwing the ball. I mean, he's got 91 throw power, which is decent, but 89 throw on the run, 73 throw under pressure, 77 deep accuracy, or 77 medium accuracy. I will say the fact that he's Lisan al-Gaib, because he's a junior, he's still got one more year to progress. But gosh, man, like he would be fun just to run around and play with this because he's going to have protect from wear and tear, juke moves, change of direction, quick pitches, and improve pocket movement. With 91 accuracy or 91 throw power, like I said, his accuracy kind of sucks, but he'd still be fun. Lisan al-Gaib, I still believe in you. All right, guys, you've seen all of it there. That's my perspective, all the data that I was able to pull out here. What's your perspective? What quarterbacks do you like? What quarterbacks do you don't? What do you prefer? What do you not? What the play styles that you have? Get in the comments and let me know what you guys think about all that stuff. Also, let me know what you think about Lisan al-Gaib. Even though the fact that I looked at him at the very end there and I was like, well, I don't actually like to run the ball that much with my quarterback, but he'd still be pretty fun. I mean, think about that junior red shirt with all the platinum abilities and still has some room to grow on the accuracy ability. All you basically got to do when you get to that senior year is put abilities or put points into an accuracy tree. He'd be fun. He'd be super, super niche, but he'd be fun. But anyways, you guys get in the comments and let me know what you guys think about your favorite archetypes. Also, remember, please like, share, comment, subscribe. Do all that stuff. I really appreciate it. So for me, guys, I'll see you guys later. I am out.